Hi everyone, we are a team from the University of San Carlos and we are going to share a company study that we have solved as a team. This is a project to increase XYZ Poultry Farm's production rate and business profit, and we will solve their business issue in a Lean Six Sigma approach using the DMAIC process. So to start off, XYZ Poultry Farm is an egg producer farm in Bantayan Island, Philippines, and they have an existing issue of meeting consumers' demand. So in the define phase, the first step was to create a project charter. Since the issue has been observed since 2019 up until this year, 2021, in this project charter, you will see our objectives, which is number 1, to pinpoint which process or area contributes to opportunity loss. In that way, we can proceed to our second objective, which is to increase production rate from 76% to at least 80%. And of course, we also want to increase the business overall efficiency and profit. The scope of the project is only limited to the recipient farm. The project started on March 1, 2021 and we were able to finish it last May 2, 2021. Our mentor for this project is Engineer Leo Victor Amores. In 2019, you will see in this table shown that the opportunity loss of XYZ Poultry Farm accounted for as much as 43,147 eggs at 76.45% production rate. They have incurred a 7-month loss equivalent to 268,950 pesos in monetary value. This problem impacts the management and staff as they are experiencing loss of potential buyers and some of their loyal customers have shifted to other suppliers. As a result, this lowers their profit and competitive advantage in the market. This graph shows the gap between their current state and their design capacity. So having all the layers laid 2 times per day, the eggs laid in an ideal situation will amount to around 5,000 to 6,000 eggs per day. And currently, they're only producing about 1,900 to 2,400 eggs per day. Therefore, they need to increase their production rate to at least 3.55% in order to fill the gap. Based on the current production process observed, the possible causes of the problem could be: number 1 is demand is greater than the capacity, number 2, they may have a high breakage rate, and number 3, considering the health of the hens, high mortality rate can also be a possible cause. The inputs include their historical data consisting their daily egg production sheet with the number of layers, mortality rate, the monthly egg supply, the demand, as well as the losses and breakage report.
The measure phase is all about the baseline of the current process. Hence, we used a flow process chart. This is a half-picture method of showing the steps in a process using symbols to indicate the type of action being taken and text to give details of the action. The chart is used to show what happens to selected people, materials, and equipment.
The value stream mapping demonstrates the information flow and material flow of the entire delivery system of the company. The company, which is the supplier, receives an order from the customer 7 days ahead of the delivery day. They harvest the eggs twice a day, 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon for 2 hours. Then, the eggs will be selected by its deformities for 60 minutes. Whole eggs and defect eggs will be separated, while the whole eggs will be sanitized, for which it will be ready for packing and shipping.
The data on the bar graph shown provides information about the monthly account on the number of layers, mortality, egg supply, demand, and breakages in 2019. In analyze phase, we first perform a root cause analysis using 5 whys technique and Ishikawa diagram.
The 5 whys technique is designed to examine comprehensively the cause and effect relationship of the problem. In our case, we analyze what could be the possible causes of the farm not meeting its demand, the high rate of breakages or defects, the reason behind the high mortality rate, and the possible cause of the demand greater than the capacity.
The purpose of the Ishikawa diagram is to allow management to determine which issues have to be addressed in order to gain or avoid particular events. As seen on the diagram, there are 4 primary causes for the problem that was established, namely man, environment, method, and material.
For the control impact matrix. Control impact matrix is to summarize all the findings from statistical validation or process value analysis. We identify the following as high impact in control. First is the lack of employee training. Second is breakages. Third is transportation. Fourth is defective kamalig. For the low impact in control, we have the egg row unsecured. Second is insufficient storage of eggs. Third is no regular maintenance. For the high impact out of control, we have high mortality rate. Second is demand. Third is defective. For the low impact out of control, we have accidents and limited land area. The table shows the process step that might fail in the XYZ's processes that possibly causes of unmet customer demands. So these are the following. So the process step first is the harvesting of eggs. So the potential failure mode is the breakage or defects. The potential failure effect is cannot be sold to customers or cannot meet the customer demands. The severity of this is 7. Potential causes are the improper handling of eggs and the lack of employee training. The occurrence of this is 7. So the action recommended is to conduct employee training on proper handling of eggs and using of correct container for eggs. Next, potential failure mode is the mortality rate of hens. The potential failure effect is shortage of capacity. The severity of this is 6. Next process step is the transportation of eggs. The potential failure mode is delays. The potential failure effect is dissatisfied customers. The severity of this is 5.
To see the most recent number of breakages of eggs, a tally sheet is made. It is used to count how often something has happened or will happen or to count items. In this data, it was found out that during the transferring of eggs, breakages is significantly at highest.
Having identified the true cause of unmet demands, which is due to high breakage rate, we then perform an FMEA in this particular area. And we've got different root causes that may have caused the breakages. Then we got the severity, probability of occurrence, and detectability for this failure that we determined. And it shows that the failure that we need to focus on first is the lack of employee training, with the RPN score of 540 and criticality of 80, followed by hen houses with RPN of 480 and criticality of 80, and lastly is the unmaintained equipments with the RPN of 384 and criticality of 64. In improve phase, we focus on testing and standardizing potential solutions.
Tree diagram measures to solve the problem by arranging the relations among objectives and their measure of the problem and by examining them systematically. As per main cause, it has multiple underlying causes, and for each cause has a solution.
In this matrix diagram, alternative solutions are presented and we rank each of them based on a certain criteria, where effect is 45%, feasibility is 15%, cost is 30%, and urgency is 10%. The top 4 solutions, which are what we highlighted in this table, are considered to have the highest impact in the system. In redesigning the system, we made 3 changes. First one is to conduct a periodic evaluation and retraining on proper egg handling. Second is redesigning the hen houses or kamali to reduce the breakage occurrence. And lastly is to improve the methods of sorting and transporting as well as proper equipment maintenance. Looking at the RPN and criticality score, this redesigned system reduces the probability of occurrence and detectability has also greatly improved.
So for the proposed solution, the first proposed solution is the periodic evaluation and retraining, establishing a strong coordination between all those involved in running the poultry farm must be specially focused on this. This includes regular employee monitoring. Performance evaluation form is required. Second is organizing reinforcement seminars and training on equipment and egg handling and effective softing, transporting, and storing. The detailed schedule of the events is planned using Gantt chart.
The second proposed solution is redesigning the hen houses or the kamalig to reduce the egg breakage occurrence. Since most of the breakages occur before the eggs are picked up, the cloth beddings should be changed into softer and durable ones. Also, adjusting the hen house to be less deep in order to prevent cracks due to force while it rolls down and prevent impacting other eggs.
The third proposed solution is improved methods of sorting and transporting and proper equipment maintenance. Improving the methods of sorting and transporting is done by sorting the eggs frequently so it would not collide with the other eggs or result in overstocking. With this, investing into new sorting and transporting equipment such as carts, egg baskets or trays, egg tray sleeves, egg cartons, and other sorting equipment will also help remedy the whole process. Maintaining equipment used remains in worker order daily and are calibrated weekly must be strictly followed. A daily inspection and weekly calibration must be carried out before using all equipment and after the day of using them. The worker should be the one to fill out the form signed by the person in charge in the farm or the manager. This will be manually done and transferred in Microsoft Excel software.
Now let's move on to the last phase, the control phase.
Monitoring and response plan is a data collection plan for checking the ongoing health of the improved process. Monitoring plan lists the measure, the targets for each measure, how each measure will be checked, how and who will check the measures, and while for the response plan, It establishes a threshold or trigger level for each measure in the monitoring plan. When the process performance goes beyond a trigger level, the response plan details immediate and long-term actions that will help the process return to and maintain the desired performance. For example, in packaging time, it must be 10 minutes or less, and that will be recorded daily through timestamp by the worker. And when it reaches over 10 minutes, the owner must check and observe the process as to see why it is taking longer and make the corrections needed. Monitoring Plan Map is a guide to continued monitoring of the process and the response plan for each of the measures being monitored. It is to reduce the key input, process, and output measures that will provide critical leading and lagging indicators during the project tracking period after implementation.
The number of breakages was monitored with the objective of eliminating them totally. For 25 days, 2 points went out of control. We revised the control limits by deleting the out-of-control points, so the process now is in control. Given the revised control limits leading to the process capability, the interpretation is that the process is producing eggs that do not conform to specification, as process capability index is less than 1. The company will be capable of achieving the desired goal by successfully carrying out the general control measures or proposed solutions mentioned in the previous phase.
For the new process, the management should have number 1, a production plan. This offers information on how many eggs you have in your inventory, what you need, how long it will take to collect new eggs, and other vital information for the company. Number 2 is a production schedule. It ensures all production plans are processed as quickly as possible with no interruption and no delays. Number 3 is the policy statements. For the workers to be informed on what to do, stick to the guidelines, and avoid including additional instructions or procedures. Number 4 is checklist. It helps get rid of any unresolved problems on the production plan. Lastly is implementing an IT system to have a quick access to ensure that all business processes are met.